Hello everyone, myself Dr. Aninder Sundar Das. I am working as an assistant professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering in Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology, Dakshin Govindpur, Kolkata. And this is lecture number 15 of the subject Control System and Instrumentation. And today's topic of this lecture is root locus, the construction rules of root locus. In last lecture, I discussed about the concept of root locus. Okay, what are the parameter that we can find out from the root locus, then how we can find out the value of k at a particular point using the magnitude condition, and then whether a point lies on the root locus or not, that we can find out using the angle condition. Okay, now today in this topic, in this lecture, I will discuss about the construction rules of root locus. Okay, and before going into that, let me just tell you one point, that is root. What is the root locus? That is nothing but the locus of root of the denominator, or the locus of the poles. Okay, as we vary the gain parameter or controller gain parameter k from 0 to infinity. Okay, now we have a, let us have, say we have this transfer function of a system. From that we can plot the pole 0 map in the s plane, where pole is marked by this cross and 0 marked by this 0 symbol. Now root locus basically originates from the poles of g transfer function and terminates at the zeros of transfer function, including infinity zeros. Now what is infinity zero? In a transfer function, okay, is nothing but it can be written as ns by ds. Okay, numerator polynomial by denominator polynomial. From the numerator polynomial we can find out zeros of the system. From denominator we can find out poles of the system. Now for a transfer function, number of pole and number of zero must be same. Total number of pole should be equal to total number of zero. Okay, for a system. But it may happen that finite value of pole and zero may differ. Say we have two poles and we have one zero at any system. For this example we have one zero, okay, and we have two poles. These are called finite pole and zero, which are present in the transfer function. Okay, but actually what should happen? Number of poles should be equal to number of zero. Now here we have two number of pole but one number of zero, so there must be another zero that should be present. Okay, and that zero basically present at infinity. Okay, that is called infinity zero. Okay, now how we can say that root locus originates from pole and terminates at zero? That we can find out from the characteristic equation, that is 1 plus k into transfer function, which is ns by ds, that is your transfer function gs, equal to 0, that is your characteristic equation. Okay, so what we can write here, ds plus k ns equal to 0. Okay, so we can divide that by k. Okay, right hand and left hand side. So what you will get, 1 by, okay, we can divide it by uh, ds. We can divide this numerator, I mean right hand side and left hand side, by ds. Okay, if you divide that by, not ds, okay, we have to divide it by k. Okay, so from this particular equation, okay, we can write that in this particular form. Okay, and that is uh, okay, so from this particular equation, that is ds by kns, what we can see, if we put k equal to 0 here in this equation, what will happen? ds equal to 0, right? And ds is the denominator polynomial from which we can get the value of poles. Okay, so when k equal to 0, okay, what will happen? That shows that we will have the equation ds equal to 0. That means that is the pole of transfer function. Okay. Now from this particular equation, characteristic equation, if we divide by k, okay, mean right hand and left hand side, then what you will get 1 by k plus ns by ds equal to 0. If we put k equal to infinity, okay, so it will be 1 by infinity is 0, so ns by ds that will be equal to 0. Okay, so we can say ns equal to 0. Ns is the numerator polynomial, so that will be the zeros of the system. Okay, so what we can say, if we put k equal to 0, that represents the poles of the system. If we put k equal to infinity, that represents the zeros of the transfer function. So we can say root locus originates from pole and terminates at 0. Okay, now say this example I have already explained that if this is the root locus plot, then we can say for a particular value of k, so when these poles are at this position, then for that value of k, your system will be marginally stable. If pole enters into this position, okay, in the right half plane, for that value of k, system will be unstable. And if the poles are on this left half plane, okay, then it will be stable system. For then we can find out value of k. And here this is a relatively stable system. Okay, so for particular value of k, it will be, for a range of k, it will be stable. Okay, for a particular value of k, it will be marginally stable, and for a range of k, it will be unstable. But these are the example from which we can say the system is absolutely stable. Okay, because this root locus path or root locus not entering into the right half plane, so it is absolutely stable. Okay, now let me explain you the construction rules of root locus. Root loci construction rules. The first rule is find the number of root locus branches. Okay, now the number of branches of the root locus is equal to the number of poles of the open loop transfer function if p greater than equal to z. Okay, if p number of pole less than z, then that will be the number of root locus branches is equal to number of finite open loop zeros of the open loop transfer function. Okay, this is how we can find out number of root locus branches. Now we can see here. Okay, let me discard these lines and let me show you what will happen here. We have here from that we have three pole. So this pole comes here, breaks and goes like this one path. This is another root locus path and this is another. So we have total three. Okay. Here also we have one, two, three root locus path. Okay. So that depends on number of poles. Here we have poles and zero, but it depends on as p greater than z, depends on number of poles. Okay. So now rule number two, that is root locus branches always starts from open loop poles and end at open loop zeros or zeros at infinity. Okay. And the root locus is symmetrical about real axis. Okay. For example, if you take it here, here don't have any zero, finite zero. So this pole should come here, break away, and it should go up to the infinity zero. Okay, this pole comes here, breaks away, and it will go up to infinity zero. Okay, and this pole should go here up to infinity zero. Okay, and in this case, this pole merge with this zero when k equal to 0. This is the position. When k equal to infinity, it will reach to this 0. But these two poles should go along this direction to infinity 0. Okay, that is the concept. Now rule 3, for positive values of k, the root locus exists on those portion of the real axis, okay, for which the number of real poles and 0 at the right is an odd number. Okay, now this is the one of the most important point that you have to know, that is on the real axis. Okay, on the real axis, what should be the root locus path. Okay, that we have to find out. How to find out? The total number of real pole and zeros to the right of any point is should be or must be odd number. Okay, say for example, if we look at this particular point, okay, then on the right hand side if you look, no poles and zero, so in this area or in this region we don't have any pole and no root locus path. If we consider point here, okay, and if you look right hand side, okay, what we can see, we can observe one pole, that is odd number, so there is a root locus path exist and you have to show the arrow going from pole to 0. If we look at this point, okay, and if you look on right hand side, what you can see, two number of poles and 0, so there is no root locus branch. Okay, branch means it is represented by this red line. Okay, now if you look at this particular point on the right hand side, we can see total 3 number of poles and 0 odd number, so we have in between this area we have this root locus path existed. Okay, so that is the way we have to find out the real axis segment. That is the rule number 3, and this is one of the most important point. Okay, real axis segment. Now here same thing we are doing. This is the transfer function, say, so we can plot -1 -2 pole, -3 -4 zeros. So if you look here at this point on the right hand side, no pole and 0, so there is no root locus path. And if you look at this particular point and you can see right hand side between these two area, okay, then we can see we have one pole, so odd number, so root locus path existed. Okay, it is shown by arrow from pole. At this point it will break away and it will go and break in to the zeros. Okay, here we have two pole, two zero. Okay, so both the poles should merge with the zeros. Now if you look at this particular point on the right hand side, two poles are there, so there is no root locus path. If we look at this point on the right hand side, we have 3 pole and 0 odd number, so root locus path existed. And if you look after that point on the right hand side, we can see 4 even numbers, so there is no root locus path existed. Okay, so this is how we can find out the real axis segment. And how we are getting, now two poles are coming, so this is the point that is called breakaway point. Breakaway point. Here the poles breaks away and one pole goes here. Okay, it enters into this particular point, a point which is between two zero, that is called break in point. Okay, break in point, and this point between two poles, that is called breakaway point. Poles breaks away and into zero it should in. So one pole in and it will merge with this zero. Another pole comes this way, break in and merge with another zero. Okay, at when k equal to infinity. Now, similarly, this is another type of plot that we are showing. I am showing you, that is we have two pole zeros as on right half plane and two poles. Okay, similar concept. If you look here right hand side, no poles and 0. Look here right hand side, one pole, one zero, so odd number, so there is a root locus path existed. Okay, and with respect to this point, if you look on right hand side, you can see two zeros are there, even number, so there is no root locus path. If we look at this point on the right hand side, we can see three poles and 0, so root locus path existed. If you look at this point, okay, after this pole, four poles and 0, so there is no root locus path. So this is the segment where we have real axis root locus path. Now how to find out this break in point and break away point? Okay, that I will tell you later. Okay, now we are considering only the point, that real axis segment. For that we can take another example. Say it is we have pole at, okay, 0, pole at -4, 0 at -2. So if you look here in this area on right hand side, you don't have any pole and 0, so there is no root locus path existed. If you look here on the right hand side, between these two area, okay, between this area, if you look right hand side, we have one pole. So we have this root locus path existed from pole to 0. Okay. Now if you look here, okay, on right hand side we have two poles and 0, that is even number, so there is no root locus path existed on the real axis. Now if we look at this particular point on the right hand side, we can see three poles and 0, it is odd number, so we have this root locus path existed. Okay, this is how you have to find out the real axis segment. Now let us take one example. This is a very good example. Now what it is given, say this plot is given, okay, we have to find out transfer function. So what we can see, that this is the root locus path existed, okay, that means there is a pole on right hand side, no poles and 0, there is this 0, so we have one pole here, so this root locus path existed. Okay, so what we can have, ks term, k by s term, because of this 0 at origin, s plus 1 term. Okay, now if you look at this point on the right hand side, we can see two poles and 0, right? Then what you can see, there is no root locus path existed, so we have one pole here, so s plus 2. Fine. Now if you look here, okay, now if you look here on the right hand side, three poles and 0, okay, so root locus path existed here, right? Okay, so it is s plus 2. Fine. Now if we look here, okay, what we can see, there is on the right hand side we have 1 2 3 4, 4 pole and 0. If that is so, then here there should not be any root locus path. Root locus path should not be existed if we have 4 pole and 0. That means what? That means at this minus 3 we have 2 pole, so it will be 1 2 3 4 5 odd number, so in this area we have this root locus path, it should be 5 odd number. Okay, that's why this term s plus 2 whole square comes into picture. Okay, so this is the most important point that you have to consider. Similarly, I have shown you here, this is the transfer function. So here s equal to 0 minus 2 minus 4, okay, poles location. Now what we can see, on the right hand side we don't have any pole and 0. At this point on right hand side we have one pole, so root locus path existed. Okay, at this point on right hand side if you look, two poles, no root locus path. At this point if you look, three poles, so root locus path existed. Okay, this is the plot. Now if I change this transfer function, where I am making s plus 4 whole square, then what will happen? Then the difference comes here. Okay, here no pole and 0, so no root locus path. At this point one pole, root locus existed. At this point two pole, there is no root locus. Now here what we can see on the right hand side, as s plus 2 square term is there, so here we have 2 pole, 1 1, so total 4. As we have 4 pole on right hand side, root locus path here does not exist. Here it is existed because we have 3 pole. Here it is 4 pole because of the fact that s plus 4 square term is there. So this is the concept that you have to remember. Okay. Similarly, I have taken an example with a 0 term here. Okay, with a 0 term here. So again we can see at this point one pole, so root locus existed. At this point 2 pole and 0, no root locus path. At this point if you see 3 poles and 0, so root locus path existed, okay, between these two area. And after this we have 4 pole and 0, so no root locus path. If we make s plus whole square, then what we can see, there is no root locus path is okay. At this point what we can see, one pole, so root locus path existed. At this point right hand side 2 pole and 0, so root locus path does not exist. At this point if you look on right hand side, 3 poles and 0, so root locus path existed here. And at this particular point if you look on right hand side, 1 2 3 and s plus whole square, so here we have actually 2 pole, so total 5 pole and 0 odd number, so here root locus path existed. Before that, as this is s plus 4, we don't have any root locus path. So this is the main concept that you have to take care every time. Now the rule number 4, okay, that is how we can find out centroid and the angle of asymptote. Okay, now asymptotes, what is the meaning of asymptote? Asymptote means that suppose in a system we have, in this system suppose we have 1 0, so this pole merge with this 0. What about these two pole? We have p equal to 3 and z equal to 1. Now from that we can find out one pole merge with this 0. Okay, we have p minus z number of pole, okay, that should merge with what? Infinity zeros, right? So p minus z, one pole merge with 0, finite 0, one finite pole merge with one finite 0, that we can see here. But these two pole p minus z number of pole should merge with zeros which are at infinity. Okay, infinity 0. So how they are going to infinity 0? Okay, that is called, that direction called asymptote. That means this pole comes here, okay, then it breaks away and then it will go in this direction to this infinity 0. This pole comes here, breaks away, and it will go in this direction to infinity 0. Okay, now this two goes like 90-degree angle with the real axis, and this one with 270-degree angle with real axis. So this pole comes here, breaks away, and at a 90-degree angle, almost at a 90-degree angle, it should go to infinity 0. This pole comes here, breaks away, and it should go at a 270-degree angle with respect to the real axis. Okay, it should go to the infinity 0. Now for this particular example, okay, let me discard all those lines. Okay, now in this particular example, what we can see, that this pole merge with this 0, there is no problem. Okay, here we have two poles. Okay, one pole should go along this 180-degree line, okay, to the infinity 0. One pole should go along this, say, 60-degree line. Okay, another pole along this line which is with respect to this real axis, 300-degree line. So what is the main point here? The main point here, p minus z. If p greater than z, p minus z number of asymptote should be there. Asymptote means the direction along which your pole should go to infinity 0 at a certain angle. Okay, so that is why you have to find out angle of asymptote and the centroid. Centroid means this is the point. Okay, this is the point from where your asymptote starts. Okay, and at that a particular angle your pole should go to merge with the infinity 0. Okay, this is the concept. Now if p equal to z, then root Lucas branches start at finite open loop pole and end at finite open loop 0. That means there is no asymptote. Okay, if p equal to z, there is no asymptote. If p greater than z, then z number of root Lucas branches start at finite pole, end at finite 0. P minus z number of root Lucas branches start at finite open loop pole and end at infinite open loop zeros. Okay, if p less than z, then p number of root Lucas branches start at finite open loop poles, end at finite open loop 0, and z minus p number of root Lucas branches start at infinite open loop poles and end at finite open loop zeros. Okay, but we are not going to consider this because this system becomes improper system. Okay, improper. If number of pole, okay, less than number of z, then that is called improper transfer function. Okay, we are not going to deal with this. Okay, now when p not equal to z, asymptotes give the direction of these root locus branches that goes to infinity at definite angle. The intersection point of asymptotes on real axis is called centroid. Okay, now let us find out what is the formula to find out centroid. Now centroid formula is nothing but summation of poles of transfer function minus summation of zeros of transfer function divided by p minus z. Okay, here n minus m means p minus z. Okay, that is called, that should be the value of centroid on real axis. Real value of poles minus summation of that minus summation of real values of zeros divided by number of pole minus number of zero. And angle of asymptotes with respect to real axis, that is angle is 180 degree into 2k plus 1, that is the condition for your angle condition, divided by p minus z. Okay, p minus z, and k value we have to choose such a way its value should form 0 to p minus z minus 1. Okay, that means what, if we have say p equal to z, p equal to 3, z equal to 0, then it is p minus z equal to 3. So k value we have to take from 0 1 2, 0 to 0 to p minus z minus 1, p minus z equal to 3 minus 1 2, so 0 1 0 1 2. So if this is the condition, number of pole 3, z equal to 0, zeros are 0, finite 0 is 0, then we can, how many asymptotes we have, p minus z 3 asymptote, so we will get 3 angle. Okay, if p equal to 2 and z equal to 0, then we will have 0 and 1, 2 asymptote and 2 angle. So this is how we have to find out. Okay, now let us take one example of that. So this is the transfer function. Okay, from that we have to find out the centroid. Okay, centroid is open loop the pole value. So pole value is here 0, then minus 1 minus 2 minus 4, minus 1 minus 2 minus 4, summation of that. Okay, minus the 0 value, 0 at minus 3. Okay, so divided by p minus z, how many number of finite pole, here we have 1 2 3 4 pole and 1 0, so it is minus 4 by 3. How to find out angle? The angle is 180 degree into 2k plus 1 divided by p minus z. So here p minus z equal to 3. Okay, so what value we have to take from 0 to 2, 0 to p minus z minus 1, so 0 to 2. If we put k equal to 0, so value should be 60 degree. If k equal to 1 and p minus z equal to 3 here, okay, so 16 to 180 degree, and here it is 5, then 16 to 5 300 degree. Okay, so we can find out these values. Okay, and the sketch is like this. Okay, so what we have, 0 at 0, then minus 1 minus 2 minus 4, 0 at minus 3, isn't it? Now we can find out real axis segment. Okay, on the right hand side there is nothing, so no root locus path. At this point we can see one pole root locus existed, at this point two poles, so there is no root locus path in between these two area, and at this point on right hand side three poles, so there is root locus path. Okay, at this point if you consider on right hand side 4 pole and 0, so no root locus path, and at this particular point 5 pole and 0, so root locus path existed. Now these two poles start and breaks away from this point. Okay, and this should go along this asymptote line to infinity 0. Okay, and this pole merge with this 0, so this pole should go along the asymptote line. So what are the angle of asymptote that we get? 60 degree. Okay, and first point is minus 4 by 3, so 1.33. Okay, so this is the position of the centroid. Okay, this is the position greater than minus 1, so this is the centroid whose value is say 1.3. Okay, 1.3. so this centroid, okay, from this centroid 60 degree line one asymptote, 180 degree line second asymptote. Okay, second asymptote here along x-axis, and this is your 300 degree line third asymptote. Okay, one pole merge with this 0, one pole comes here, breaks away, and it should go in this along the asymptote direction. It should go to the infinity 0. Second pole comes here along this asymptote direction, it should go to infinity 0, and 180 degree line, so this pole should go along 180-degree line to infinity 0. Okay, so this is the concept of this. So from any transfer function, first thing we have to plot the pole 0 position. We have to mark that in S plane, then find out real axis segment. Okay, then you have to find out centroid and asymptote if required. Okay, after that, okay, so let us take another example of that. Okay, and let us check what will happen. This is the transfer function. Okay, so we have pole at 0, -1, -3, 0 at -2. Now here from this what we can say, your p equal to 3, z equal to 1. Okay, so p minus z, that is 2. Two number of asymptotes should be there. Okay, so number of angle should be 2 only. K value should be 0 and 1. Okay, 0 and 1, 0 to p minus z minus 1, so that will be 0 and 1. So angle of asymptote we have to find out. K equal to 0 you have to put, here it is 3 minus 1, so 90-degree, and k equal to 1 if you put, so it will be uh, 90 into 3 to 70-degree. Fine. And centroid value you have to find out. Okay, for the asymptote, what is the asymptote point, or say centroid? Okay, let me write here, this is a centroid. Okay, what is the value of centroid? Okay, I can change that. So what is the value of centroid, that we can find out? That is very simple formula to find out the centroid value. That is what, summation of pole value -1 -3 minus summation of 0 -2, so it will end p minus z, so it will be uh, -1. So at -1, okay, that is your centroid. So this is your centroid. Okay, and the angle of asymptotes are, one is 90-degree, another one is 270-degree. Okay, so this pole merge with, now we can find out real axis segment. So this is your real axis segment, odd number of 1. Here two poles are there right hand side, so there is no segment. Here 3 pole and 0, so there is real axis segment. And this point 4 pole and 0, so there is no real axis segment. So this pole merge with this 0, these two pole, what will happen, these two pole comes here, breaks away, and it should go along this asymptote to infinity 0. This pole come here, breaks away, and it should go along the asymptote to the infinity 0. Okay, so that is the function of asymptote. Okay, now this system becomes absolutely stable because this root locus path does not enter into the right half plane. But in this previous example, what we can see here, that this root locus path enters into right half plane. Okay, so for certain value of k, system becomes unstable. Okay, so these are the point that you have to take care. Okay, from the root locus plot. Now let us find out the fifth rule. Okay, what is the point? Already I discussed about so many times that this pole breaks away from this point. Okay, two pole comes here, breaks away from this point. Okay, if we have two zeros, okay, then one pole comes in, another pole comes in, and then goes to the 0. Okay, that is called break in point. So now let us find out how to find out that break away point and break in point. The break away and break in point corresponds to a point in the S plane where multiple roots of the characteristic equation occur. Okay, that means if we have this particular case, we have one pole, another pole here. What will happen if k varies? Poles are shifting. Okay, poles values are shifting, and at some point, multiple pole, that is, these two pole comes at a same point. That is the point it breaks away, and it should go along the uh, asymptote line to the infinity 0. Okay, it can be any direction. What is the angle, that we can find out by angle of asymptote. Okay, so that is the, and in that condition what will happen, system will be critically damped. Okay, because we have same root value. Now it is the point from which the root locus branches leaves real axis enters in the complex plane. That means here k, when k varies from 0 to, but increasing k value from 0, it is increasing at this point, it breaks away and enters into the complex plane from real axis. Okay, if the breakaway point lies between two successive poles, then it is termed as breakaway point. If and break-in point is the point where the root locus branches arrives at real axis. That happens between two successive zeros. Okay, so that I can tell you in this example that these two pole comes, breaks away, one pole goes like this way, enters and then goes to another zero. Another pole comes here, breaks away, it should go like this way, enters here and goes to the another zero. Okay. So at between two successive pole, it is break away point, between two successive zero, it is break in point. Okay, so this is the arrow this we have to provide. So this is the example plot. Okay, now how to find out the breakaway break-in points. This is a very simple procedure that you have to remember. That is, we have to construct the correct characteristic equation 1 plus GSHS equal to 0. Okay, and in GSHS we have the term K. Okay, now what we have to do? We have to write the equation K equal to what? That we have to write. Okay, from that characteristics equation we have to find out k equal to what, k equation in terms of s. Then we have to perform differentiation dk by ds with respect to s, make that equal to 0. Okay, make that equal to 0. Then we have to find out the values of s. Okay, then we have to find out the values of s. The solution you have to find out dk ds equal to 0, dk by ds equal to 0, then find out the values of s. Then what you have to do, we can get many value. Okay, for s we can have many value. Okay, we can, if it is quadratic equation, then we can get 2 value. If it is third order equation, 3 value, like that way. Now all the point is breakaway point. Which one is the breakaway or break-in point? That how we can find out. For that, what we have to do is, whatever the value of s, that value you have to put it into k, and we have to look whether k is real positive value or not. If it is for a particular value of s, for a particular value of s, if we put that value in k, if we found k is the positive number, okay, then that point s, the value of s, that is a point, okay, is the actual breakaway or break-in point. So this is the way you have to find out. Okay, now let us see an example of that. Okay, we have to determine breakaway and or break-in point. Now gs is this one. Okay, if you plot, okay, what you can see, 0, -1, -2. Okay, those are the pole. So we have p minus z. Okay, from that we can find out asymptote and all those points. Okay, so asymptote will be what? P minus z equal to here 3, right? P minus z, that is equal to 3. So what is the value of that real axis segment? We have to find out. So real axis segment is what? That will be between these 2 points. There is a real axis segment. Here is the arrow. Okay, and here is the real axis segment. Here is the arrow. Right? On right hand side we have one pole. 2 poles does not exist. Here we have 3 poles, so it is existed. P minus z equal to 3, and centroid value is what? -1 -2 divided by 2, so it will be -1. Okay, so -1 is the centroid, not -1 actually. -1 -2 -3 divided by 3. Okay, yes, -1. -1. What is the angle? 0, 1, 2, right? K value should be 0, 1, 2, because it is 0 to p minus z minus 1, 0, 1, 2. So angle should be, here it's centroid, angle should be -60, -300, 60, 300 and 180. Okay, now we have to find out breakaway. Breakaway point must be between 0 and 0.1. Okay, so here you can have the breakaway point. Okay, and it should go like this way to the infinity 0 along this asymptotic line. Another, this pole should go along the 180-degree line. So this point, breakaway point, must be between 0 and 1. Let us see whether we are getting or not. So we have to form the characteristic equation 1 plus GSHS. So 1 plus GSHS equal to 0 you have to put. Okay, characteristic equation. Now what is the value of K we have to find out in terms of S. Okay, so this will be minus 1, K equal to minus of this. Now you have to perform the differentiation of dk with respect to S. Dk by ds, if you solve it, okay, we will get this particular term. Okay, or this is the equation that we got. This is a quadratic equation, so we will get two value. Okay, one value is minus 0.4, another one is minus 1.5. Now if you look into this example, this point minus 0.4 here, minus 0.4 is here, which is on the root locus path. Okay, root locus branch, so it is a valid breakaway point. Another point is here, minus 1.5, where root locus path does not exist, so don't have to take that value. Okay, this is one other way to find out, but the better way to find out is we have to put this value s, okay, this two value s in this k equation. Okay, in that k equation, and find out whether k is positive or not. Okay, what we did here, that in this equation s value, okay, we put in that k equation, what we find, that point s equal to this point is a valid breakaway point. Okay, if we put s equal to minus 0.4, k value is positive, put s equal to minus 1.5, it is negative. So this point is not valid, this is valid. That also you can find out from the plot itself, but always better if you can't do that, or you cannot identify that, then what we can say, we can find, put this s value in k equation. If k is positive, then that is the valid breakaway or breaking point. So this is the example of that. Okay, now that is the plot of that I have already shown you, that this is the plot. Okay, this is the breakaway point. This two pole comes here, breakaway, and it should go like this way. Okay, another pole should go like this way. That is the plot. Okay, now we can go for another one. Okay, now say another example. So this is the transfer function. We have to find out breakaway and breaking point. Okay, so we have to form 1 plus 1 characteristic equation, 1 plus gh equal to 0. Okay, if we put that 1 plus this equal to 0, okay, then this factor equal to minus 1, so k equal to, this is the factor that we got, this is the k equation. Now what we have to do, we have to perform dk by ds, make equal to 0. We will get one expression. By solving, we will get this to s value. Okay, now in this case we have two pole and two zeros. Okay, now if you look at this plot, we have pole at minus 1 minus 2, minus 1 minus 2, zeros at 3 5, plus 3 plus 5, and we can see that minus 1.45, 3.38. So these are the 2 points. If you look for the real axis segment, this is the real axis segment. Sorry, direction should be opposite. Okay, enters into 0. Okay, and here we don't have any, because we have 2 0. Okay, and if we look from here, we can see 3. So here we have real axis segment. Okay, and after that 4, nothing. So what will happen, this pole breaks here at minus 1.45, then it will go like this way, and it will enter, break in here, and goes to this 0. Another pole comes here, breaks away, and go like this way and enters into this breaking point to this merge with this particular 0. This is the plot now. Okay, so here we can find out it directly without any problem. Okay, we can find out directly because that is the two valid point. Otherwise, what you can do, put this value into this k equation, see whether k is positive or not. Okay, that is the way you have to find out, and this is the logic. Okay, so uh, now let us check the rule number 6, which is determine how to determine the points where root locus crosses the imaginary axis. Now in this plot we can see that we have two zeros here, so this plot crosses the imaginary axis. Okay, so we have to find out this intersection point now. Okay, this intersection point now. In some more example we have seen that this is crossing this imaginary axis. When it is crosses into right half plane, it must cross the imaginary axis. So we have to find out the intersection point with the imaginary axis. Okay. So now this is the way how to find out. Let us discuss. Okay. So now these points can be found by using route stability criterion. Okay, that we did. What we have to make? We have to find out value of k, and we have to make one row of 0, find auxiliary equation. From that we can find out. Okay, this is one method. Okay, so k value is what? 6, then it will be 0. Enter row 0. So we have to take the auxiliary equation 3a square plus k equal to 6. From that we can find out s. Okay, this is one way to solve. Another way is very simple way, that is what you have to put in the characteristic equation. We have to put s equal to j omega. Okay, we have to put s equal to j omega, and then imaginary part. Okay, k is your real part, and your j square. Okay, j square equal to minus 1, so minus 3 omega, that is your minus 3 omega square, that is your real part. So we have to separate the real part and the imaginary part. Okay, and from imaginary part we can find out the value of omega. We can put this omega value here and we can find out value of k. This is the simple method to find out. So from this particular point, what we can say, for particular example, this will be equal to omega square equal to 2. Okay, so omega equal to root 2. If we put omega equal to root 2, so k will be equal to 6. Okay, so what we can say, this is the value. Okay, another value can be 0 and 0. Okay, but this is not appropriate to choose, so this is not required. This is the result. That means in that plot what will happen, whatever the value here root 2, okay, and here minus root 2, symmetrical about real axis. So this plot root locus, say we have a root locus plot like this way, these two poles comes and breaks away from this point, and it should cut this point. Okay, and at this point the value of k should be equal to 6. So we can find out the intersection point with the imaginary axis. Okay, minus that value, omega value. Okay, and we can find out what should be the value of k. So get less than k less than 6, the system will be stable. Equal to 6, marginally stable. Greater than 6, unstable. That we can decide very easily. Okay, so this is the plot that is I have shown. So this break away, and this is the point that is your root 2 value. Okay, k equal to 6. So k less than 6, system is stable. Equal to 6, marginally stable because poles on imaginary axis. Greater than 6, system becomes unstable. Okay, that we can decide very easily. So this is the another rule. Now let us talk about, if we have angle of, I mean, complex pole and 0. Up to now, whatever the problem we have solved, all are, there is no concept of complex pole or zero. If we have complex pole or complex zero, okay, then what will happen? For that, what will happen here? We have two complex pole, two complex zero. What will happen? This pole should go to this zero. Okay, this pole should go to this zero, merge with this zero. Now at what angle it should reach? That means this pole, at what angle it should leave the position, and at what angle, okay, it should arrive at the zero, at what angle it should depart from pole, okay, and at what angle it should arrive at zero. That's why we have these two concept: angle of departure, angle of arrival. Okay, that is for complex pole and zero. Angle of departure is applicable for pole. Okay, what is the angle? At that angle this pole depart, and at this angle it enters into the zero. Okay, so that angle of departure with respect to pole, angle of arrival is with respect to zeros. Okay, now how we can find out? For that we have to consider the angle of, angle condition. Okay, angle condition, and the basic formula, let me just tell you that angle of departure, the formula is 180 degree minus angle of all pole minus angle of all zeros. Okay, angle of arrival is 180 degree minus angle of zero minus angle of pole. Okay, so how we can find out? Say for example, we have a complex pole here. Okay, complex pole values is minus 1 plus minus j1. Okay, so we have to find out this angle of departure. Okay, this angle of departure, how this angle, this pole departs. Here what happened? This pole merge with this zero. We have three pole and one zero, right? So p minus z equal to 2. Okay, now centroid value, how you can find out? It will be minus, okay, let me find out here. It will be minus 3 minus 1 minus 1 minus of minus 2 divided by p minus z, 2 3 minus 1 2. Okay, so that will be minus 3 minus 4 minus 5 minus 5 plus 2 minus 3 minus 1.5. So minus 1.5 is the centroid, and how many asymptotes are there? 2. 2 means 0 and 1 k value you have to put, so angle must be 90 and 270 degree. Okay, so here this is your centroid and this is your asymptote. Okay, asymptote. So what happened? These two pole should depart at an angle and it should go along the 90-degree line, and this pole along the 270-degree line to infinity 0. At what angle it should depart? Okay, so if that is the pole here, then this should depart like this way or like this way, or it should depart like this way. That we have to find out. Okay. So that is the point, how to find out angle, at what angle it should depart. For that what you have to do, this is a very simple formula that you have to apply. That is 180 degree minus, okay, 180 degree minus, say we have to find out, say this is your theta 1. Okay, so theta 1, that is equal to 180 degree minus angle from this pole. Okay, what are the pole and zero there? From that angle you have to find out angle. This pole, this is 90 degree, so that will be 90 degree. Okay, then 0, from this 0 what is the angle that you have to find out? Okay, that is your tan inverse of 1 by 1, and this angle from this pole. Okay, tan inverse 1 by 2. So we get another. Okay, 0 means plus. Okay, 0 means that should be plus. Okay, so what we are writing here, mm, summation of all angle equal to 180 degree. Okay, so this angle should be pole angle is always minus, zero angle is always plus. Okay, that you have to take care. Okay, with respect to first pole you have to find out 180 degree. Actually this should be angle condition, so we can take case 0, so we can take only 180 degree. So what we can do is this pole angle, this second pole, third pole, and 10. Okay, so all the pole you have to take negative, and 0 you have to take positive. Okay, so for 0 angle positive, all the pole angle negative, equal to 180 degree. So what we can write here, theta 1, we can take that to theta 1 equal to, we can find out the value, or we can write theta 1 equal to 180 degree minus this 90 degree plus 45 degree. This is the value. Okay, tan inverse 1 by 1 and minus tan inverse half, which is 26.5 degree. Okay, so that is how we can find out the angle of departure. Now I think this is little bit tricky how to find out that. Okay, what we can do is we can apply this formula, that is we can have angle of departure means 180 degree minus, okay, summation of the pole angle, all pole angle with negative sign. Okay, all pole angle negative sign, then plus, okay, let me write it like this way, 180 degree minus pole angle. Okay, p1 p2, okay, p1 p2, then plus theta of z. Okay, that is the way you have to find out. So here what you can do, this angle if you want to find out, that will be equal to 180 degree minus this pole angle, which is 90 degree, we can find directly, plus this zero angle. Okay, minus this pole angle. So with respect to one pole, all the pole and zero you have to connect, and you have to find out their angle with respect to this real axis, and you have to find out. Okay, now in next lecture I will show you the solution of root locus plot. Okay, taking all the examples and applying all the rule, all the this total 7 rules. Okay, I will solve some problems, then you will understand all the concept once again, and that time I will show you how to find out this angle of arrival and departure. Okay, once again. So let me stop here, and I will continue that in the next lecture. Okay, thank you so much.